What's up, guys? I hope you're all having a great day today. I am excited to do some energetic weather. And today is August 21st. We're going to talk about the sun, moon, and earth today. Yeah, so today's kind of a wavy day. We've got some emotional themes going on, so maybe you're riding some emotional waves, and I want to talk a lot about that. How to treat your thoughts and emotions, how to be a healthy system as you live this life. And I want us to know too, these themes that I'm talking about, we are all influenced by them. We are all impacted and influenced by the energetic weather every single day. The neutrinos that are created in the sun, they flow through our planet. They flow through me, trillions of them moving through my thumb every second. It's like we live in this energetic ocean. And so everything's alignment, everything's positioning, everything's place affects everything's place. And that's how we can look at some of these themes. And with where we're at in time, we are at an inner truth point where humans have the opportunity to become more aware of things as they are, to gain more truth about life, and our observation of it. And so I call these themes energetic weather, because just like we look at the weather every day on our way to work, this also affects everyone too. And this is something I really like to watch, because I've done this for a while. And, it's like in the 70s, some of this stuff like wasn't even allowed. And you watch it move through time. And I'll never forget, a couple years ago, we went to the ER and the nurses were talking about how the full moon changes things. It literally affects their night if they're going into work with a full moon. And so we are just gaining more awareness of the fact that we are impacted and influenced by these greater bodies and the positioning of everything. So today, and what we've been doing for about the last 20 hours or so, is calling and being called into commitment, into saying yes, into experiences of discovery. Or maybe we're even looking back at commitments that we've made before or commitments that we're currently in. We are in the energy of commitments. And making a commitment, a lot of time it's not aware, but that's okay, because the whole goal is to gain awareness and learn more about life self, to see more of life self. And so the question you can ask yourself today is, have you overreached and bitten off more than you can chew? Like I said, we begin our commitments in unaware ways in this gate. And, you might see rush decisions. Like, did we rush? Do we really know? Like, was it a correct decision to start this experience in the first place? Am I accepting too many invitations? Do I have too much going on? Do I have time to breathe? Am I so lost in so many experiences that I'm exhausted, that I'm hurting my body? Are the commitments that I'm making good for my health? It's like we can start going all kinds of places within these commitments. And you might see, unmet expectations, wild change points, literally the fall. I don't know if you guys have read the Bible or heard of the fall, getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden. As soon as they left that garden and life was initiated, that was a totally new experience. And it wasn't wrong, it was right. And so a lot of new experiences, especially ones that start here, kind of begin with a fall. And you're in this new world and you're responding and you're learning how to live. And so give yourself some grace in this wavy energy, and embrace the perfection that life is. Embrace the choicelessness. Let it all be okay, and accept what is. Allow yourself to gain awareness and discernment. It's like personal right and wrong is the most valuable information in the world for each person to have. And it's like getting that personal yes and no, what is right for me personally. It is such a unique experience. No human can teach another human how they make their correct decisions. And Bear and I were just talking about this. This is the most important thing to me. Every experience that happens in life, you are fully prepared to respond now as you are. But the problem is that we have to learn our unique response. So maybe I can respond right now, and whatever I say will surprise me and you. And maybe my husband can respond and say, why don't you give me a couple days? Because he has an emotional wave. And so maybe he needs time. Maybe he needs to gain clarity before he responds or makes his decision. And so it's up to each of us to watch ourselves, learn ourselves, become aware enough to show up to life, able to respond as ourselves so that we can live with the least amount of resistance and stress. And, we can live a joyous life that works, because when you're aligned to life, it works and it carries you from one experience to another. And so all of this commitment, this sacral energy, this life vitality, this getting out and discovering, meeting your body, this is all grounded in the irony of desire. And so desire, this burning fire, this is an emotional gate. And so waves come with this. And maybe you have seen in the last 24 hours or so, anger, frustration with limitations, a desire to eliminate the entire process, like just take it and burn it down, it's like when we step into desire, I desire this, I create expectation, I run out to try to fulfill that expectation and get desire, right? But it's like the emotional wave is unaware and it will push us into experiences our mind has no idea why. We'll be like, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to get. We'll get something totally opposite and be like, what the hell? It's like, this is the gate of the fates. And so if you are seeing some of those wild change points, if you're seeing things happen in ways that you didn't expect, allow that to happen and let that be okay. So much of this might bring up old feelings. Like maybe you're having experiences today where you're like, ugh, like I've lived through this. Like, what's wrong with me? Maybe you've got some blame and shame going on. Like, why am I doing this again? Old feelings, remembering what happened, comparing it to where you're at now. And I have a couple things that can really help with that. The first one is that the past doesn't equal the future. The only thing that makes the past equal the future is a mental decision. So you're like, I lost my trade. I'm always going to lose my trades. And then it's like the next time you lose a big trade, you're like, oh, I knew it. Like I'm always going to lose my trades. And it's like you're kind of like creating some self-fulfilling prophecy because you've made this decision. And maybe you don't even know that you made that decision. Maybe it's subconscious, but maybe if you live that enough times, you could feel into that. You could accept that thought, accept that feeling, and maybe that thing could release. It's like instead of blaming it on yourself, shaming it on yourself, like, oh my gosh, like I always do this. I'm never going to win a trade. It's like this is blaming self. And this will hold that in your body, just making one mental decision. I lost that trade because I'm just not smart enough to do this. One mental decision, you're going to just carry that through time. It's like we call that baggage. And maybe you're only deciding that you're not smart enough now because you decided that in first grade. It's like these mental decisions have a shelf life of forever. And so this bringing up old feelings, like if you really sink into that and just allow it to be there, feel it, let your mind think it, it can release and stop torturing you. But if you're resisting it and you're like, oh my gosh, like why do I constantly think that I'm not smart? I need to hire a healer to change this thought. Like, what am I going to do? Like, why am I so dumb? All of that is just going to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And so if you can just accept and allow it, I picked this up from who knows where on YouTube and whatever grade from this, it doesn't matter, but like what does matter is just letting it be there until it's not there anymore. Same with an emotion. We're having a low emotion. We just let it be there until it's not there anymore. And there's so much freedom in that, right? If I hate that I'm sad and I'm blaming myself and I'm trying to eat my favorite ice cream and watch my favorite show and do my favorite things, like if I'm trying so hard to get rid of this negative feeling, it's like that feeling is technically controlling me. That feeling is making all of my choices. But if I'm like, ugh, I just went through a breakup, I am sad, it's going to be here until it's not, it's allowed. I can allow my body to feel this. That's freedom, because you're like, oh, yeah, I'm sad. Now what? Then you can like be creative, or you can explore the life past the point of accepting and allowing an emotion that your mind doesn't want to be in your body now. And so past doesn't equal future. We don't want to carry mental decisions around. There is no true mental decision forever. And there's nothing to believe. It's like we really don't have to decide anything about self, other life. We can really just watch it and allow it to be whatever it is. And this is really why mental decisions aren't real. It's like these mental decisions, the mind really doesn't know. And it will make decisions from its places of past, its baggage, all of these things that it's experienced and hasn't been able to let go of. And so carrying that emotional baggage around, it stops you from seeing life. It's like every mental decision that's inside of you is like a pair of glasses where you just can't see life. And it's like Bear brought up a good example. If I decide that I'm not a good trader or whatever, and then some opportunity comes to me, I probably won't even see or register that at all as being something that I could do or something that I could respond to, something that could be for me. It's like I'm going to cut that off and cut off all future opportunities because I don't believe in myself here now. Like I've made some decision about what I think I am, and now I'm not going to move forward. And maybe I can try again somewhere else. It's like carrying that baggage around will stop you from seeing what's happening right in front of you and just honoring it and responding to it. And so what we want to do is not try to escape what's happening. If you have a low emotion, we're not trying to escape what's happening. Like if we're having negative thoughts, we're not trying to escape that. We can just accept and allow that because that's what's happening now. And that can make things so simple. It's like you're experiencing low emotion. You don't have to control it at all internally. You don't have to explain what it means to yourself. You don't have to have a solution of how to make it go away. You can just allow your body to feel that emotion. And so this is the best thing ever. It's like what you are as a system. The body feels emotions, the mind thinks thoughts, and you aren't either one of them, right? You are the observer that watches the mind think and watches the body feel. And so that's a relief, right? What you are never has to feel an emotion. You just watch the body process them, and the body's made to do that. The thing that makes it so painful for the body to process emotions is the mind blaming it on the system, right? And so if we can just let thoughts and emotions be there and not taking responsibility, we can watch them. Your internal world is going to change so incredibly much for the good. And that will be a product of you not trying to control it and it just leveling itself out over time as you just watch and allow what is happening inside of you now. And so let's see, another wavy gate, the moon is in 36. This is the darkening of the light. And this is about finding personal clarity over time. Okay, so we are coming to clarity, maybe change points. Maybe we're focused on transition into moving into a new order. And this is something that takes time, right? Clarity isn't certainty. It's not, I can't be certain about what's next for me right now. But it's like maybe as I live, I'll get to this point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I know I'm moving there. Boom, like I have something deeper than a thought. I have emotional clarity. And I'm telling you what, when a body arrives at emotional clarity, you can't stop it from doing that thing. So it's like just allowing the time, that can bring you so much clarity and stability to move into your next transition point or whatever is lining up for you. And this is a crisis gate. It's about change, and change can be really hard for the mind. So it's like, what could we change? We could change our mind. We could put down any mental decision. We could change an emotional habit, the way that we treat these things inside of us. We could change our environment, our behavior. There's all kinds of things that might be changing for you right now. And if you can just trust life and allow those changes, you will arrive on another side with a new way of being, and it will have been okay. There's something too about this gate, and blocking off ourselves from seeing what's happening. If you do not do the hard things that show up in your movie will get harder, right? Like the things that happen are for you to respond to. They're for you. And if you try to escape them and avoid them, your life is just going to get harder, and you're fully prepared. Everything that happens in your movie is you're fully prepared. So you can feel comfortable in responding to the hard things. Let them be. It's not your fault. Don't blame them on yourself or another. Let these problems happen because these problems are the solution. They are. And if you are in that observing place, you know it and you'll honor them. If you are scared and running and you're lost in your mind, you might not see them at all. But I can almost guarantee that if you do, you're going to run as fast as you can in the other direction because you don't want to go there. You don't want that change. You don't want any of that. And so there's a couple kind of like hard places that I just want to point out. I know I'm probably running kind of long here, but Mercury's in retrograde and we just came into gate 4. And so this gate can be like a total bear in terms of like doubts, like facts, opinions, thinking, like, do you have a friend or a family member who thinks they know everything? You can let them know that the mind doesn't know. No mind knows. It's amazing. Even scientists who study trees, I don't care. Zoom into that thing far enough and you will reach the unknowable. Zoom out far enough and you'll reach the unknowable. It's like the mind doesn't know. At its best, the mind can observe, and then whatever it's observing, it can compare, measure, label, but it can't know. Like it doesn't know. And so if you are getting a barrage of opinions, control, refusing to listen, refusing to understand, refusing to see another side and accept that that could be a valid part of reality. Refusing to understand brings consequences. Okay, so I'm telling you right now, what we all want is to be as open-minded as possible so that when things happen, we can understand. Because when something happens down the road and you've been refusing to hear and understand, you are going to be at a very uncontrollable crisis, and it's like the more open-minded we can be over this next week or so, the better for all of us. And so listen to understand, remove intolerance, this like ignorance, this just not being able to accept and allow the full spectrum of what is. We can respond to that. And with each response that an intolerant person gets, they're going to have to be forced to see wider viewpoints of life. The last one, kind of tough here. We've got a heart gate and Mars and Jupiter are there together. And this is gate 45, the gatherer. This is tribal leader, king, queen, the head of the monarchy. And we might be seeing like change and expansion in what we have or not. This is really interesting to me because the leader, the tribal leader, the king and queen, what's it take to be a good king and queen? You are filling the bellies with nourishing food, and you are filling the mind with the correct education for that point in time. And when I look back through history, most tribal leaders did not care about those two things, right? They were turned around. They were focused on corruption, filling their pockets with gold. They were not focused on the greater whole. And so I think this is an energy that is very distorting. It's a throat gate, and it starts in the heart. And the voice is I have. So I have this, I have that. This is my environment. This is what I've done. This is the work that I can do. It's a very big I voice. And the more distorted that this gets, if it's coming out of like an open heart center, or if it's very wrapped up in mental decisions and things, this can come across as egotistic, immature, entitled, controlling, and you might see the control happening through people, resources, thoughts, behaviors, food. These are all things that can be controlled. What you think, what you do, how you dress, how you act. And so no matter what, you don't have to be controlled. You don't have to be in relationships that are full of distortion and violence. You don't have to think that anybody knows what's right for you besides yourself. And if someone else thinks that they know what's right for you besides yourself, you can let them know that they don't. You can walk away, you can trust life, and you can get to better people, better environments. At the end of the day, when it comes to this energy, what we all need to know is that effective actions. Practical, effective actions. This is the only thing that creates leaders, communities. It's the only thing that brings home the resources. And so practical, effective actions. And if the person that is claiming to be stepping up to be distributing resources to be the leader, if they are not practicing practical and effective actions, work together to identify and recognize that. And if they don't want to hear, you can go somewhere else and create your own practical and effective actions. So yes, I hope you guys like this today, and I hope that you have a great day. I will come back and I will share more with you on Friday. Thanks, guys.